girl magic, y'all can't stand it, y'all can't ban it. Made out like a bandit, they've been trying hard just to make us all vanish. I suggest they put a flag on a whole nother planet. Black girl magic, y'all can't stand it, y'all can't ban it. Made out like a bandit, they've been trying hard just to make us all vanish. I suggest they put a flag on a whole nother planet. Black girl magic, y'all can't stand it, y'all can't ban it. Made out like a bandit, they've been trying hard just to make us all vanish. I suggest they put a flag on a whole nother planet.
I'm Leo Sunfire.
And I'm Dr. Love.
Welcome to the Black Portal Power, where we center the Black experience. Open your mind,
Free your soul.
for the portal is open.
Well, welcome back, Black Portal Power listeners.
Hey, hey, hey. In my Fat Albert voice. Tad Albert voice. Hey, hey, hey.
Well, I hope you all have had a wonderful, wonderful past week. We have certainly been thinking about what the week has been like, what the beginning of 2021 has been like, and really the need for self-care. You know, Leo Sunfire, this is a term that's been going around. You see hashtag self-care, sayings about the importance of self-care, but do we really know what that means and what that entails?
Well, let me start off by saying, do you know where you're going to? Do you like the things that life is showing you? What are you gonna do? Do you know? Self-care.
Do we know?
Be in tune with your star player. That's the topic, that's the way, that's the energy that we are bringing to you today. Self-care is the conscious act that one takes in order to promote their own physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. Fresh air, lots of sleep, diet, exercise, and meditation. It's the only way I do it.
That's the way you meditate?
Yeah.
I tend to take those deep breaths, get in a very calm position and breathing in, being deliberate in my breathing in and
breathing
then
in that
out.
good ass prana, baby. Yes.
Because we don't take time to stop and breathe. I know I don't, and I love the definition that you gave of self-care. A lot of times we think of self-care as indulgence, right? Mm-hmm. And it can be those things that calm us and soothe us, like taking a bath, going to a spa, or, getting a mani-pedi, or, for men, whatever they do to self-care. if it's if it's watching sports, if it's listening to music, all of those things, those are indulgences, but is that really about self-care? And so the treatment of the body, the mind, the spirit is really where we begin to take care of self, because those are the things that make us who we are. Yeah. And so I was reading on this, and I love this quote, that self-care isn't about escaping from life. It's about building a life you don't have to escape from. And that resonated with me.
That's nice.
Really, really deeply, that self-care is any conscious, intentional activity or habit that aids in the process of personal advancement, including emotional, physical, spiritual, and social growth. Just what you laid out for us at the onset.
Right.
Leo Sunfire.
Right. It's a multi-dimensional, multifaceted process of purposeful engagement in strategies that promote healthy functioning and enhance well-being, vital for building resilience towards stressors. So if you're under a lot of stress or under a lot of pressure from maybe a job or a family situation, relationships, meditation and is an excellent stress reliever from that stressor. That and prayer. I don't ever want to negate prayer, because a lot of people do both or just one. But those are ways to escape and still remain within the process of loving yourself and taking care of yourself.
And I like that, escape sort of the pressures of life, because they are real. You know, they come to us no matter your age, your income, your race, ethnicity, your gender. Life can be stressful, and we've certainly seen with life shifting and changing in 2020, and then how that continued into 2021 in ways that impact. Those are external pressures, but they certainly can impact the internal. And we certainly live in a very busy oriented society, that we've always got to be doing something and really taking care of things and taking care of others. We are very work-oriented society, and work has its place, but where we take that time to stop and say, 15 minutes of my morning or an hour of my morning or this day is set aside for me to really focus on my emotional health. And I think it has to be a daily exercise, because it is easy to push it off.
Well, I mean, most people, it's a priority. If you have to prioritize self-care. Most people don't. They put it on the back burner until they're faced with situations where they have to take care of themselves, have to stop and say, wait a minute, let me reassess all of this and figure out what order of which I need to prioritize me. But usually it's the aftermath that people do it within, instead of being proactive. They're reactive towards life and the things that happen. One thing about the heavens and the universe is, if you don't take time, it will make you take time for yourself.
These are facts.
Yeah.
I love what you said about resilience from stress. I feel like resilience has been my word for the past few years, and I've been working just in what I do in my day job, and I've been working on this book for a while about how risk and resilience coexist, and that life pressures and factors can impact our experiences with risk for all kinds of things. Now, I focus a lot in my research on violence, but that even in our awareness of our exposure to violence, that we also build resiliency, that the two coexist. And so resiliency from stress, because stress is a real thing that we're all going to face in this life. And so developing that resiliency. So let's talk about it on an emotional, because we laid out these various ways in which self-care has to happen: emotionally, physically, spiritually, socially. Am I missing any of them? Did I miss any?
No, I think you got them all down. No, you said mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual. Yeah, I think that's all.
So let's talk about it from the, where do you want to start?
With
How
the
about
emotional
that? Yeah,
part
let's
of
start
it.
with the emotional part of self-care.
Well, most people project emotions. They don't live within their emotions. For example, if there's a moment where you need to shed a tear, cry, to get things out, you should, male or female. I'm going to say that. And a lot of men don't realize that crying is not a weakness. It's just a part of being human. It's part of just the emotional process of being a human being. It doesn't make you weak or uncaring if you need to shed a tear for whatever the reason is. If you just want to scream out loud, go somewhere and just let it all out, just to get that out of. If you internalize stress, if you internalize your emotions, then it turns into stress, and then it starts impacting your body, your organs, and things like that, and you start having some real issues with your health.
Absolutely. And that releasing it. I remember learning this song. It's funny that the lyrics came back to me when I had to be in elementary school, where there was this song they taught us in music. It's all right to cry, crying.
Sing it.
How does it go? Right to cry.
I'll sing it for you if you tell me what it is.
Lets the rain out from you. Raindrops from your eyes. It might make you feel better. Like, it's all right to cry. and I can't remember the verse right in between, but raindrops from your eyes, it might make you feel better. And so saying that is okay for men, for women, for boys, for girls. We teach young men not to cry, to toughen up, but then that means, this is, in my field, we understand this is where aggression and that kind of behavior comes from, because there is no alternative outlet for it. We tell them to toughen up. This is how we build masculinity, and we don't want men to appear soft or weak, and that's not a sign of weakness. That's actually a sign of strength.
Absolutely.
Because again, men are faced with pressures in life no different
especially
than
black men.
Absolutely.
Especially copper colored men, I'm gonna say that. Yeah, they face more things than life allows them to speak on or even deal with. So ladies, if you have a man in your life, I don't know if it's your father, your son, your husband, your boyfriend, whatever, give them room to breathe. Give them room to be free. Give them room to be emotional, especially with you, if they trust you. If you want them to trust you, give them room for that. Give them room to be a human and not feel judged or ridiculed.
You have to be the safe space. You have to be the safe space for that emotional outlet, for sure. And I think about this too, in terms of how our emotions are so powerful and so important. We were given them for a reason, but they can take over.
Yes.
They absolutely can take over. And so understanding that balance with respect to emotions and how they lead. I remember one demonstration was, thinking about this as a train, and that the emotions can't be the engine all the time. They have to be the caboose in some respects. And what I took from that was how if we're led by our emotions, because emotions go up and down, then our behaviors will go up and down, and that emotions are fleeting, that they serve a purpose. Like you said, you have to have that outlet for that emotion that you're feeling at that time, but it cannot dominate in such a way that you don't know how to balance them. And I think that's really hard, especially as I walk through this season of life and thinking about something I've never had to really think a lot about, and that's anxiety. I haven't had to think much about it. I just took it as a normal part of life until it really started affecting me physically. And so how that is an emotion, and it's a necessary one, right? That it's something that, when we feel fear or anxiety over something, it's a part of life. But when it's unproductive, when it goes unchecked, it can run rampant. And so I think about that in terms of fear, in terms of anger, in terms of, any of the negative emotions that we can feel, sadness, and how we balance that, because it's something I don't think we think enough about in terms of our emotions and our mental health until we have to think about it. That was something you were saying earlier. And now, now that I have to sit and think about this, where does this come from, and why does it feel this way, and then how do I address this? Being very conscious and aware of emotions, and how that is a part of self-care, not just kind of going through the motions and this is what it is. No, let's sit back and analyze this. And that's hard. That's really hard.
Well, one of the great things about that you can do is just live in it, just face it. And once you face it, then whatever it looks like, customize your self-care for you, because you are an individual, and what it is for you is for no one else. Don't let anyone validate your self-care or what it's supposed to look like and feel like to you. So you can't categorize it. You can't lump it up and say, well, when you're going through stress, this is what you got to do. You customize it for yourself.
And I want to return to that. We've got to get to a break. But you're listening to Black Portal Power on BSB Radio.
Yeah.
Protect our lives, but they're killing us. What the fuck? Where's the trust in being human? I don't see no love, cause we're all fucked.
Anytime a black man in this country stands up for his constitutional rights, he dies.
Let it go, free your mind, live your life, feed your soul. Give your time, see your family, keep them close. Cause you never know when it could all be gone. Just let it go, let it go, let it go. Make it right, ain't no time for no wrong. It's a ride that you not getting off. You don't ever know when it could all be gone. Just let it go, let it go, let it go.
I spent the last summer on tour. Spent the last winter with family. I ain't been running so long. I hope I still fit in with y'all. Out here trying to get it. Kids grow a mile a minute. Money don't buy experience. Can't dig in your pocket for it. I wanna be there for the wrong. I wanna let it go, but it's gone. I buried my mom last year, and I'm gonna be healed with a song. But the hope when you heal make it strong. I wanna raise my kids via phone, and I love my niece, my nephew, just like they a seed of my own. And my life on the speed of my own. Still reciting, I speak through the poems. I'm so grateful I kept my composure, and do remember the things that I told you. You can't dwell, that'll make it a phobia. We can still conquer the culture. We gon' fight, that don't mean that it's over. You're the angel looking over my shoulder.
Let it go, free your mind, live your life, feed your soul. Give your time, see your family, keep them close. Cause you never know when it could all be gone. Just let it go, let it go, let it go. Make it right, ain't no time for no wrong. It's a ride that you not getting off. You don't ever know when it could all be gone. Just let it go, let it go, let it go.
I write my name in the sand, that I bring to the beach. Can't see no hand in my reach, and I'm standing beneath. I can't handle the beef. Most nights don't handle the peace. A man or beast. I take a handful of each. Now I'm roaming the streets. Head low, headphone full of beats. Get low, then my face gets known, but I never get low, ain't known to police. Cause I roll with the weeks and lunches, jabs, uppercuts and punches. Dance cat for the weeks and dunces. I can make peas in hundreds, tens in thousands. Men move mountains, next day same men move ounces. All cash, no checks and bounces. These are my surroundings, and I keep composure. No luck like 3-leaf clover. What you gonna do when it's all over? What you gonna do when they don't phone you? What you gonna do when they don't hold you? What you gonna do when you can't sleep and your eyes go weak and you can't stay sober? Your bed's my sofa, your son's my soldier. Just like I told you, keep composure.
Let it go, free your mind, live your life, feed your soul. Give your time, see your family, keep them close. Cause you never know when it could all be gone. Just let it go, let it go, let it go. Make it right, ain't no time for no wrong. It's a ride that you not getting off. You don't ever know when it could all be gone. Just let it go, let it go, let it go.
And we are back talking about taking care of your star player, being in tune.
Yes, yes. And so we left off talking about curtailing your emotional self-care to who you are. And I do think there's some wisdom that comes from when you become aware, like, this thing is out of balance for me. Reaching out to those who specialize in understanding negative emotions, that when they begin to dominate. If it's a fear, like some people have a fear of elevators or fear of the number 13, and if it becomes a paralyzing fear or fear of I can think of so many things and so many examples where people have told me, I have a real fear of this, and if it's keeping them from living their life to the fullest, sometimes having that support from the mental health community to help you deal with that fear. Where is that coming from? Address it, get to the underlying root and cause of it. And one of the things I really appreciate is that in the therapeutic community, they know that this has to be curtailed to this particular person. And so therapy isn't about, them telling you what to do, but it's really like, how do you partner with them and figure out, what's going to be the best, route for you to really deal with the issue that you're faced with. And then, on the flip side, positive emotions, because just like we have negative emotions, we have positive ones too. We have that ability to feel happy and optimistic. I like joy over happiness. Joy seems to have a more permanent thing. Happiness to me sometimes feels like in the moment, but joy is that underlying current that can be there. And so we even our positive emotions, play a role in terms of our self-care and where we get that from and derive it from our inner being.
Yep, absolutely. You gotta definitely face it and deal with it within it's best if you can get someone that you can use as a catalyst, an outlet. Where within our community as colored people, we have been reluctant to seek out help professionally because it's been frowned upon for so long within our people. We don't need any help. We can fix this on our own, but it never gets fixed. You never face the things that are really plaguing you and your family. They call them generational curses. I'm just gonna call it a curse. It doesn't have to be a generation. It just has to be your thing that you won't face, and you keep pushing it off on everybody else that is in your family, and then it turns into their problem and they carry it on with them as well.
I heard it put this way: it's a generational trauma, right? Because a curse sounds like something that is not amendable to change or can be fixed. So I want to redirect the narrative. You don't have a curse on your family. You have a trauma that has been passed from one generation to the next, and that is subject to change. That's why we're talking about self-care. When we become acutely aware of something that we see as passing down or going from one generation to the next, we're not going to normalize it.
Absolutely.
We're going to say this is not healthy. This is not okay. I think that the Black community is becoming more and more open to this idea of how do we do this? How do we get positive outlets to deal with negative emotions if they are persistent and chronic in our lives that don't allow us to be healthy and strong. And so, Leo, like you were saying, this has been frowned upon. It's something that is foreign. It's something that I don't know about that. I think the cost of it keeps us from pursuing it. And so I would love to see where we make this more of the norm and not in our communities, and accessible in our communities so it doesn't become a stigma or something that's frowned upon.
Well, as a renowned therapist myself, because I've been a hairstylist for almost 30 years, I am renowned, baby. I've been talking about this kind of stuff for a long, long time. We've been helping fix people and each other for a very, very long time as confident, just people that we have to take in all of that. And if you're not a healthy person, then you shouldn't be giving anybody any kind of advice on anything, but you got to know you're not a healthy person. If you know your shit stinks, then don't tell nobody else that it's okay for them to shit on somebody else. I'm just saying.
Sad part is that some people who are not healthy don't know they're not healthy.
Well, it's always the ones that don't know that they're not healthy.
They will give you that unconventional wisdom and say, well, this is how I would do it. I would just do X, Y, Z.
That's not right.
And again, that's a problem in and of itself. Sometimes I wonder about that. If they don't know they're unhealthy, that's a problem.
Yeah. Most people do know they're unhealthy. They just don't mind shitting on other people. That's all. It's just really
and sharing that this is a way to do it. Just blow up at them. Just go off.
Hey, I'm
just
with
let
you.
it out.
I'm a ride or die with you. Let's go. Let's blow up the world.
And so we were talking too about how this happens on so many levels in terms of self-care. It's spiritual also. Yeah. And taking care of our spirit through meditation, through prayer, through this recognition that we are spiritual beings, not just physical ones. And in the physical part.
Well, I think mentally, self-care mentally is really getting in tune with your culture. It has a huge impact on how what life shows you and how you go through life, the structure of life around you based on your culture. You need to be in tune with them and to have a natural identity. And when you know where you come from and face what you've been through and prepare for what and where you are going, and know yourself. I have broke down tribe just for, I guess that's kind of an acronym. I forget, it's been a long time. But tribe for me is trust in yourself, rely on your light, indulge in your love, believe you are God, and empower your people. If you do those things within your culture, it impacts you individually as well. And then it helps within your self-care for you to see things in a different perspective versus always seeing the negative things that the society wants to show you, the media wants to put into your mind and into your spirit. It wants to make you think that you're, as an individual, as a culture, that you're not healthy, that you're not good, that you're low, people. People tend to take on those same energies individually. So it impacts you mentally when your self-care mentally when you get within your culture and community and start helping your people.
And that's so powerful. I think that a lot of times when we build community, and tell people, like you were saying before, having your support team around you, people that you can confide in and talk to, but then how that builds strength and knowing, hey, you're not in this journey alone. That being candid and honest, I've walked through this before, and I support you. I will be there for you, and the ways in which we just love in our communities and love our people and love just humanity, period. Just really understanding that we are all interconnected, and the ways in which we invest in our community. I think that the narrative about the Black community has been so negative. And there are things that I have to look at from the perspective of, now that we're talking about mental and emotional health, the stigma associated with seeking out that kind of help and treatment is true in our community, but also we could not have survived so many of the things that
we're so resilient. We're the strongest thing on this planet, period. There are things that other cultures of people have been through that they did not survive and they failed, but we have been, first of all, we've been around since antiquity, and we still here. We have outlived all the disasters that the world has offered us, and we still here. We strong. There's nothing within us that cannot. That's why I said, believe you're God. Believe you're God. Believe that not in something external, but within yourself. Know thyself. Know that the God that's within you is why you still exist. Why you have outlived all of that bullshit that the world has offered us time and time again.
And I believe that we are made in the image of the true and living God.
Absolutely.
And so God lives in us, but God is also, to me, something that's external to us, internal and external, in that where we are limited, and that we do experience life in a way that God as spirit doesn't experience, right? And so we're still in bodily form, and so we're still, for instance, susceptible to aging, susceptible to things that will deteriorate the body. But the spirit is something that does not die, in my view. And so God is this internal thing that lives within us, but God is also this external being that transcends us as well. And so I love this about just our spiritual, our emotional, and how this then in turn affects the physical, right? And so dealing with those internal things that are about self-care and health and wellness then has to also affect the physical body.
Well, the physical body is like you said. It's just it's a thing. It's a house. It's a shell. It will dwindle and die. It has its purpose. It houses God. So it cannot live forever because the spirit is what it houses. It's not something that you just need to care for while it's here so that you can utilize it to the best of its ability. But the spirit that lives within it is God. And there's nothing to undo when it comes to the spirit that's inside of you, because it's God. And I mean, it makes you powerful. It creates the mental and physical strength that you need to get through the things in life, that you can overcome the things in life through God. And God is, if you allow God to do what God does, because we always get in the way.
Yes.
But if you allow the God in you to serve the purpose, then you don't have to be under stress and pressure. You will be light and love, and you will be free to think and feel however you want to and create whatever you want to as a master creator through God that lives in you.
Absolutely. And that balance between what is, my portion, God's portion, man, that's a journey. That is that is always that balancing act, that I think all of us are walking through. What portion is mine? What portion is God's? What do I hold on to and try to do myself? And what do I allow God to do? And I think when you feel, hey, I'm working at this and this isn't working the way I intended. Okay, well now it's hands off.
Absolutely.
That's God's. That is not yours.
Yeah.
So that balance, I think, is really, really important.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that our society has taught us so many ways to look at things versus the real natural way of being. So we don't get a chance to really be fully who we are based on how society has taught us to think and believe. This is a complex thing when it comes to self-care, because some people can look at it as being selfish, or even when you believe in yourself and you exalt yourself, that you're arrogant or I like a little arrogance in everybody. When I see it, I'll be parading around and like, do that, get it. I love it. I love to see it.
Because that
shine, baby, shine.
Is beautiful.
Yes.
It is amazing because it's that self-awareness and that actualization that you are important, you are vital, you are essential, right? And that you bring something, and it's such a beautiful oh wow, what am I trying to say? Because I felt that it is when it reflects onto other people, right? It puts in the atmosphere just a wonderful feeling that people can radiate from. It's that light radiating other light, right?
The connection.
It is absolutely that.
Mm-hmm.
But you're listening to Black Portal Power on BSB Radio.
Yeah.
We need each other. We have to have each other for our survival. From the revolutionaries to the conservatives, a black united front is what we're about.
The making of the mob, the changing of the guard, an angel from the Lord in ceremonial garb. The main culprit at large, the big homie in charge, emerged over the odds. The victorious ours, the talented Mr. Trotter, a midnight marauder. If it's blood in the water, no stopping the top shotter. I drop bombs, multiple arms like candelabras on a mission. I'm chasing chicken like a chupacabra. Listen, salute your father, I'm headed back to Wakanda after the drama. Rappers get mad at back to the drama. To kill a lion separated from the pride. I rule Zion, I am the most hated one alive. A gun was fired, another one expired. I represent the unwanted, undesired. Wash my hands of it all, then raise one and testify. The lyrical manslaughter, I'm guilty but justified.
I started running the streets when I was 9. When I started running around at 9, I knew what I was gonna do when I was 10.
Truth for 10, yeah. Trust the vibe, Winchester, fly sinister, Philly certified finisher, the prime minister. In God's image, the monument, the homages to the problems, acknowledging how to apply penance for the transgressions that I've accepted. And acquiescence of my own presence as I inspected my loaded weapons, y'all just don't get it. So stream it at your own discretion. Every answer question, investment in your own protection. They be like black. Well, who knew we'd be receiving a new you? That's part Zulu and Farrakhan meets Pharaoh Khufu. Misinterpret my level of genius and call it cuckoo. But the Swahili meaning of freedom is still you hooroo. To the woof guru, I deliver the truth to you. Who got the nerve to act as if this isn't proof to you that I will mobilize a militia and troop to you? No telling what I got in the system to shoot through you. If it's too brutal, look the other way like I'm bribing you. But surrender all your valuables as if I'm robbing you as I slide the hassle to the side like a tassel. The facade of the place I reside, it's like a castle. I'm the honorable Pense Noir, my nom de gar. I'm the czar of Peking to Paris is my kind of car. I'm the R, I'm the L, I'm the K. All correlated, unadulterated power, the king. Been coronated, wake up, no masquerade, remove the makeup. It's no sleeping, my eyes refuse to stay shut. It's gatekeepers responsible for this place, but historically the authorities been morally bankrupt. Into the execution of speaking at retribution. I send shots to Lucifer even to catch the future. Me and the best producers out again, on route again. Airborne audio spores, it's like an allergen. So, in conclusion, I want to clear the confusion. Any rumors the artist you're currently hearing is human. The shapeshifter, weightlifter, I hate Hitler. I'm the great victor behind the bars, state prisoner.
And we're back. So that confidence is radiating. You know, it is beautiful because you see the person in their fullness, their spiritual, emotional, and physical well-being. Arrogance is something totally different. Absolutely. You know, when it's prideful or if it's demeaning to others. Yes. But confidence is something that is just beautiful and wonderful. And so just thinking about how all of these are aspects of self-care. It's not just, you know, definitely do the things that make you happy. It's not just self-indulgence. It is really about how are you taking care of your being. And like you said, that's not a selfish thing. That is not a something that should be viewed as wrong. Mm-hmm. You know, that is something that is necessary and vital. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think a lot of people fall short on it because they're afraid of what somebody else might think about them if they exalt themselves. I mean, I take everything and put a T on it because my name's Tanya. So if I'm speaking on something, I just replace whatever letter it starts with the T because that's me exalting myself. And showing that I'm a master creator within my own world. I don't know what your world looks like, but in my world, I'm the master. So that's how I think everybody should see themselves versus you looking upon someone else that does feel that way and saying, oh, well, they think that they're this and they think that, yes, they do, and yes, they should, and I'm glad they do. As long as they're not belittling someone else, degrading someone else, taking away from someone else, let them be great, be the greatest version of themselves. You know, I think that's absolutely the best way to boost and build your self-care.
Absolutely, because what you say and what you feel about yourself, or what you say sometimes, even if you don't feel it inwardly, that's kind of letting your emotions subside, you know, because you're speaking affirmations to yourself, you're believing in yourself and the agency that you have as a being. Absolutely. Right? That you were created with purpose, you were created to bring things into this life form that only you can bring. So that I think is, again, really, really powerful and so important. Yes. Absolutely important.
Well, I think one of the things that we as adults that rule the world have negated was the ability to use your imagination. One of the purest things about children is their ability to dream still and use their imagination. Well, we don't desire it anymore. To imagine things is to create. Instead of being proactive to life situations, we're always willing to be reactive. We sit back and wait for things to happen, even if we think we're preparing for it. We're preparing for it only on the surface level. We're not digging deep within ourselves and our spirits to understand that what you create up here is what you project out there. And the universe, especially if you speak it, the vibration will receive it and give it right back to you. So if we're not using our imagination to bring forth light, love, pure intentions, then we are allowing life to do it for us, and then we have to react to whatever life is throwing at us. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that is the pressures that we face, again, being body, mind, and spirit, right? That we are these multifaceted beings, and so we're inundated with things all the time, and things that flood the spirit, flood the mind, and the ways in which we have to deal with that and cope with that. Everything from those things that we do, self affirmations and reminding ourselves, all the way through for some who may have chemical imbalances, and figuring out ways to get help from the therapeutic community to help with that, and the medical community to help with that.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you, but a lot of the chemical imbalances that people are experiencing, rather it starts from a small child all the way into our adult years, is our diet. Our diet plays a huge part of all the things that are plaguing us as human beings. And if we keep eating, I like soul food, I'm not gonna lie, but I know soul food is not really good for my soul, because it's really full of fat, grease, and all of the unhealthy things, sugar, all the things that causes my body to be sickly is what we call soul food. So is it really for our souls, or is it really for our flesh? Because once you put it on that soul, put that soul food in you, that flesh is gonna get weak, and you're gonna start to feel the impact of it.
And learning how to make these things in a way that does benefit the body, right? That you can have good food and it doesn't have to hinder the body. And so how this all connects the emotions, the mental to the physical, and so the wholeness of being well physically, mentally, spiritually, all plays a role. So what we eat, what we ingest, and some things again are genetics. So, and how that again may be the product of foods that we've eaten or passed down because of hereditary traits is really important.
Absolutely.
And so self-care, being aware, know thyself, as you said, Leo Sunfire, know thyself, don't veer away from knowing thyself, and then seeking out the ways in which to do self-care all the way around.
Absolutely.
so that you are the fullness of who you are, and living in the fullness of who and what you are and whose you are. I love to say that. I love to say that. Whose you are.
Well, there's you've been blessed with 3 brains in your body. One thinking brain, one feeling brain, and one health brain. Your digestive system is your health brain. Your intestine,
gut.
your gut is so vital to everything else in your body. If you don't have a healthy digestive system, everything else, including the thinking brain, will be impacted. Your spiritual awareness will be impacted because your brain is being impacted. It's all tied together. Mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional health are all linked in together for oneness with yourself. And if that gut is jammed up, mentally you're jammed, physically you're jammed, emotionally you're jammed, and you better know it, spiritually you're jammed too. You don't see it all take place right away, but eventually it creeps up on you, and then you're just like, what the hell? It's all within that gut. Clean out. Take a shit. A good one, and look at it. Look back at it. Instead of look back at your ass, look back at your poop and see what it looks like. It determines your health. Believe it or not. I know a lot of people don't really comprehend or understand, because it's important that you look at your poop.
And I think, many adults do. I would hope so. I would hope so. So that gut health, the heart health, because out of the heart flows the issues of life, right? And so that's the emotions. And then, like you said, our mental brain, the way in which we process our cognitive thoughts and being aware of those cognitive thoughts. Because until you're brain dead, you're going to have thoughts that go through the mind. And a lot of times we don't sit back and think about what those thoughts are and how they connect to the body, to the, like you said, our three brains, the heart and then the gut.
Yes,
or the intestines.
It's all connected. And if you take care of your health, you will be completely surprised on how everything else freely allows you to be great. If your health is good. And it also keeps you from making decisions that will impact you later on, like a vaccine that's not good for you. I'm just gotta throw that out there.
You gotta bring it back.
I had no choice. I gotta get everybody aware it is. But no, it'll cause you to make decisions that will impact you later on when you're not healthy and you're not balanced. And there's no judgment on anyone when I say these things, because I don't always eat good, but I eat better most of the time than not. I like bad stuff too, but I usually take care of myself and do the good stuff more than I do the bad stuff. Because it's self-indulgence, it's the things that make us who we are, because our society has shown us this all along. This is how it is. I mean, they got commercials telling you to eat all this bad shit. Canned goods, stop eating canned goods, black people, stop. There's so many carcinogenics laced in canned goods that it's just doesn't make any sense that we haven't learned these things. And they put them in our communities just for us, believe it or not.
in America, period, the way in which we industrialize the food complex, with processed foods and beyond, this is something that is plaguing us as a society all the way around. And then how it affects, the black community in particular, because of the lack of access, in food deserts in our communities. So all of these things are really important. And again, that is such a huge important point to bring out. And so even with respect to the vaccinations, that we are dealing with a virus. And we talked about this on a show before last. I think, a virus that, could be a part of biological warfare, or, as we talked about before, did it come from birds, bats, whatever? This could be laboratory created, but it has affected society. And so, as Leo Sunfire said, no judgment there. But it's all about doing what you need to do for your physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being.
That's right. You get healthy, people, mind, body, and soul. If you don't like to exercise, do Tai Chi. It's just about basically moving your body to allow the energy to flow through your body. And you'll be surprised how much weight you lose, how much better you feel. You're stretching your body because you're channeling and moving energy through your body. If you don't like to run, that's okay. Neither do I. I don't like to run. And my knees is getting bad because I'm getting old. I'm just saying. But, I don't want to tell nobody because I can still get low.
But walking, if
walking.
you can't run, if you don't like to run, and again, all of these other options. I love yoga in terms of that, good. Helping with that meditation. Absolutely. And clearing the mind. Absolutely. As well as stretching the body. Those things are all really, really important.
It is very, very important. And journaling. Make sure you learn to write again. Or if you don't like writing it down, use a computer to make a journal. Type some stuff down. Put your thoughts on paper, down, so that you can reread them. So you can go back and revisit them so that you understand where you was 5 weeks ago to where you are now. Okay. And if you're still in the same place 5 weeks later, you need to figure out why. You're still facing the same demons and revisiting those same emotions 5 weeks later. you can really see it, but you gotta write it down first.
Yeah.
You gotta make a point of taking notice of it and understanding it, and then you'll maybe find some direction to change it or go in a different direction instead of walking that same path.
Self-awareness is so key. So key. And journaling is a big part of that.
It's huge.
No doubt. No doubt.
I mean, I like to write stuff down just because I think I'm a poet. And y'all don't know it. I do. I feel like I could do some things, but I've been like this for a long time. I love writing things down, even if it's just a catchphrase that I heard someone say, or that I liked it. I thought it was really cool. Just write it down, and I revisit it. And it might be years later. I might find that piece of paper or something, and be like, yeah, I remember this. But it brings back the nostalgia of that moment, and. You can live within your past and in your presence, and then prepare for your future through things just by writing them down.
Writing them down. And journaling. Yeah. Very important. Yeah. Very important.
Well, we getting ready to wrap this thing up, but mind, body, and soul.
Self-care is essential.
Essential.
It's a must. It's a must. If we didn't know it before, we certainly are knowing it and experiencing it now. And it's not just a hashtag. This is a real process that we all need. And it is so much more than a trip or a vacation. Those things are really important. But how we engage in self-care on a daily basis, I don't care if you are 10, 15, or 45, 65, really make an effort to figure out your path for self-care. Journaling, being spiritually aware, being mentally aware of the way in which you think and how those things impact you. Taking care of the body, in the most basic ways, and building up the strength to do that in even more advanced ways as needed. Listen to yourself, listen to your body. Don't shy away from that. It's important.
And eradicate fear. Period. If you stop fearing, everything else goes away. Well, you've been listening to Black Portal Power on BSB Radio. Open your mind,
free your soul,
for the portal is always open.
So 3, what you want to be when you grow up?
I don't know, but I'm thinking about a basketball player or a singer. I don't know yet.
Basketball or singer. What about you, Pepe? What you want to be?
A piano player.
A piano player? Well, are you going to be like a big star? Yeah? Like me?
Yeah.
I'm going back to all those dreams I once had. Before I let all these things in my head, my 8-year-old self would be so disappointed. Cause I started to doubt everything we say. But sometimes life gets hard, and you just don't know if you can still do all those things you dreamed of before. But you don't need to grow up. That's the beginning of the beginning of the year. You just need to believe like a kid again. Like a kid again. Kid again. You just need to believe like a kid again. Sometimes I wish I didn't know all I know. I used to believe in the impossible. But at some point I started to trust in only what I see. When honestly my faith is really all I need. But sometimes life gets hard. You just don't know if you can still do all those things you dreamed before. You don't need to grow up. That's the beginning of the end. You just need to believe like a kid again. Like a kid again. Yeah. Kid again. You just need to believe like a